This is Talk Asia, and my guest today is a man who's facing one of the most enviable or unenviable jobs in the corporate world. It all depends on how you look at it. Bob Iger has been handed the keys to the Magic Kingdom, the man picked to be the new chief executive of the Walt Disney Company. But he's following in the footsteps of Michael Eisner, a man who built Disney into an international powerhouse, only for parts of it to implode under his tumultuous tenure. Iger's first priority has been to repair relationships battered by the Eisner reign and restore the Mouse House's fortune. Thanks so much for joining us here on Talk Asia today. 2 days before the launch of Hong Kong Disneyland. What sort of nerves do you get in the lead up to this sort of event?
Well, most of what you feel is excitement. Opening a theme park is a big deal. First of all, this is a big project. These parks are very complex, from design to construction, to all the things that are necessary to open, including training 5,000 new employees. And so there are so many different components, some within your control, some outside your control, like the weather. But mostly the feeling that I get is one of really great joy and excitement because of what this means, not just for the company, but for the people of the region. It's an exciting thing.
Every chief executive, virtually without exception, who comes to Asia talks about the huge potential, and they talk particularly of China, but also around the rest of the region. Can you quantify it for us? Can you give us some idea of just how important Asia is going to be to the revenues of Disney over the next few years?
Clearly Asia, because of its sheer size, number of people, for instance, is an opportunity, but fraught with a fair amount of challenge and to some extent some peril. You're dealing with multiple countries, multiple languages, multiple religion, all kinds of different regulation, huge expanse of geography. In some cases...
Where will the focus be? I mean, Hong Kong Disneyland is obviously huge, high profile. Is the theme park the forerunner of Disney expanding in parts of Asia?
Well, that's a very good question, because when we enter markets in different ways based on either the opportunity or the nature of the market itself. In this region, all of our Disney businesses are here. This fills in a huge blank. It's the one business that we've not opened in the non-Japan Asia region. We have a park in Tokyo. And so this is a big step. We actually believe that this park will be a tentpole, a springboard, a kind of primary driver of growth for the Walt Disney Company in this region. It's the largest thing that any Western media company has ever done in this region. It's the biggest initiative, and it should have the largest impact. So if you were to ask me what is our focus in China, get all the businesses in place, basically operate on the ground with full local staff and an infrastructure, and then use the theme park to really drive growth.
You mentioned China. I wonder, does Disney, or is Disney prepared to compromise on what Mickey Mouse is and who he is and what he stands for to get into markets?
Compromise is really the wrong word. First of all, when you mentioned Mickey, I mean, the brilliance of Mickey, and Walt Disney deserves obviously all the credit, is that Mickey, although he was created in the United States, is almost acultural in nature. In other words, he has already proven to us that he's got the ability to live, exist, entertain, enthrall in so many different places. We do obviously make cultural adjustments on a lot of levels. This is a good example at Hong Kong Disneyland, where we've applied, whether it's a science or an art of feng shui, as a for instance. We're very culturally attuned from a language perspective. This is a 3-language park, Mandarin and Cantonese. If you were to look at the menus at our hotels or our restaurants.
There was bad blood between your predecessor and people like Steve Jobs. How difficult has it been for you to mend these fences?
From the moment I was named, I've had a number of priorities. Many of them shared by Michael. Many we discussed even before I was named, things we had in mind for the company. In many respects, while we're different people in some ways, we saw eye to eye on a lot of issues.
Thank you, Bob.
It's been a very smooth transition. I could not have asked for a more cooperative, more willing partner and a more supportive one than Michael, and he leaves me a company that is in very good shape as I move forward and gives me a chance, I think, to take this company forward with a great management team.
What is your priority?
Well, at the Walt Disney Company, it starts and stops in a way with great creativity and innovation. The bedrock of this company, the foundation, is creativity. That was Walt's and Michael's and needs to be mine. It's where we need to allocate the most capital. It's where we need to apply ourselves the most aggressively, where we need to attract the most people, whether they're employees of ours or external partners, vital for this company. The opportunities that we discussed in terms of globalization will only be fulfilled if we create great product. So that's priority one. I've talked a lot about technology. That's interesting today because while in many respects people view technology as a foe, I view it as a tremendous ally. It's giving us an ability to create better product, whether it's HD TV or attractions like Mickey's PhilharMagic here in Hong Kong. Is also giving us an ability to reach more people more often. Just think of wireless devices, the internet, broadband connectivity. And so using technology aggressively to both improve the quality of the product and distribute it more broadly, very, very important. And then the third priority is growing globally. And creativity and technology will help us do that.
Just finally, I can't let you go without asking this. What do you think is the best ride in the Disney universe?
The best ride? Well, one that I don't know that there's a best. One that I appreciate the most and enjoy a lot is here in Hong Kong and also in Orlando. It's called Mickey's PhilharMagic. And the reason it's great is it combines great storytelling and great characters with amazing technology. And that's what really Walt recognized was a powerful combination.
Bob Iger, thanks very much for joining us.